What's up, guys? Welcome back. Glad you're here. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at the newest release by Mr. Mahdi The Magician. That's right, Mahdi Gilbert, the new Emanations playing cards. That's right, by Mahdi Gilbert. So, buckle in your seatbelts, because we're going there. Let's go! The Emanations playing cards is the newest release by mastermind and magician Mahdi Gilbert, a famous magician out of Toronto, Canada, who actually fooled Penn and Teller on Fool Us. This deck was on Kickstarter just about 2 months ago, and it raised an outstanding $9,878 out of an $8,000 goal after 178 backers brought this project to life. This deck was created and pays homage to a lot of other greats in the Magic world. People like Charles T. Jordan, which we'll get into a little bit more here shortly. Goodall, which was also seen inspired in the Hidden Leaves deck that Mahdi released previously. And also Doherty. The front of the tuck and entirety of the tuck box itself is covered in this beautiful red and white striping that's kind of nostalgic and reminding of an old circus tent in a lot of different ways. The right side of the tuck case says Mahdi The Magician in a red background with a black border going all the way around. The right side says Nowhere, Oklahoma, which is also reminiscent of the Hidden Leaves as well. The left side of the tuck says Emanations in large font and Before Magic, which is also Mahdi's company. The bottom of the tuck says Emanations once again really large in a really cool font, and it has some ad copy as well. The back of the tuck box at first glance kind of looks like a almost Art Deco style tribal mask or artwork. But at closer inspection, this deck is actually the monogram of CTJ or Charles T. Jordan, and it would appear in the writings that he first had in a lot of his work. Emanations is the study of early magic that was spread around the pre-civilized world, and the idea came from the artwork. This deck has no tuck seal, making it very quick and easy to get to upon opening. Also, on the inner flaps, on the left and right, they are all black. The left one sports Mahdi Gilbert's logo, as you can see there, and the right has the exact design which we see on the back of the tuck. Alright, this deck was printed by the United States Playing Card Company on their Premium B stock. It does have a smooth finish, just like the Hidden Leaves before it, as well as a modern cut. This deck is also a one-way back design. Alright, so with this deck, you're going to receive 4 extra cards. The first one is a bit of an ad card of sorts. It's going to say Emanations, and in behind the body of the red card, it's going to say a little bit of abbreviations as well as some meanings there below. The next card you're going to receive is for a trick that is called Everywhere and Nowhere, number 2. This is Hoffenser's classic story of a man who wants to go everywhere but ends up nowhere, and it's brought to life in your hands. And this is also to be used with the Hidden Leaves deck as well. The next card is for a trick called One, which is a fusion plot that has been totally redesigned and restructured from the ground up by Mahdi. It's a beautiful parable that comes to life in the spectator's hands of 2 lovers who choose to become one flesh. And the last card is a bit of a kind of mystery, if you want to say myself. It looks like it has some sort of a dog or wolf attacking a snake of sorts. I contacted Mahdi about this card and he said, it's all secrets to be uncovered. So every single card in Emanations playing cards has been drawn by Mahdi instinctively to awake the primitive in all of us. These are all crafted with care. This deck is inspired, like I said earlier, in a homage to Charles T. Jordan and Charles Goodall. The ink on the playing cards used to be pressed into the uncut sheets one color at a time, resulting in every single deck looking completely unique due to the discrepancies in bleeding of the ink and plates. He recreated this vintage aesthetic like he did with the hidden leaves as well by making everything purposely imperfect. As you can see here, Mahdi also once again chose to not use any kind of indices within this deck, keeping it all kind of, like I said earlier, in that Goodall sense, like we also are familiar with, and we'll see the same with the court cards as well as we go forward. So it's going to be all of these imperfect but yet perfect pips. So just like the number cards that I showed you previously, the deck's court cards follow in that same Goodall tradition. As you can see here, all of the colors are out of it, unlike the previous hidden leaves, which were full of color but followed in suit, literally. This deck is still great for magic, cardistry, and gameplay, or whatever your heart desires. Alright, the aces are damn near identical. That's right, we have one pip per ace, so a heart for the heart, club for the club, diamond for the diamond. And as far as the ace of spades goes, well, you're gonna have to also decipher that. That is another secret that Mahdi holds close, and he says that if you can decipher it, then you are meant to know.
Alright, so what do I give this deck? I give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoy it. I wanted to give it a 4 out of 5, but I couldn't because it would be a preference call. And the reason being, I'll let you guys in on it, is the reason why for me it would have been a 4 out of 5 is something fairly small. Usually when I show a spectator or somebody that the deck is completely mixed, shuffled, you know, so on and so forth, I like to fan the cards, show them. You can't do that in this deck because the pips and indices being gone and things like that, you cannot see nothing. There's nothing in the corners to see. So that's the one thing that would have dropped it down a point. But that's just personal preference once again. You can still do any trick, any shuffle, any move, any flourish, any cut, any whatever. And you're not going to run into any kind of problems. Mahdi definitely, put a lot of love and work into this deck. Him and Destino, if you're not familiar with Destino, the graphic designer that helped Mahdi with this deck, he's done decks like the King of Legacy deck, the Hanya deck, many other decks. He also worked on the Hidden Leaves deck that was done by Mahdi prior to this. So he's definitely, a very skilled designer. And like I said, they definitely did a hell of a good job on this deck. Ever since he announced this, I think it was sometime last year, he was kind of teasing it a little bit. I couldn't wait for it. So, yeah, definitely a good job as always. So, yeah. So, as always, I do want to thank Mahdi for sending out this deck to allow me to do the review for you. And if you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoy doing it for you, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you beautiful people on the next one.